and welcome to the Oakland County Megacast. I'm Tyler Keith in the studios of our flagship stations, 89.3 Lakes FM and Civic Center TV. In addition, today, as always, we're on Birmingham Area Municipal Access in Birmingham, Bingham Farms, Beverly Hills, and the Village of Franklin. Both of our TV channels, Comcast Channel 15 and AT&T Channel 99. On the radio, of course, as always, 89.3 Lakes FM and also in the Bloomfield and Birmingham area on 88.1 WBFH, the Biff. Today online, civiccentertv.com. Click on our Watch Live link or view us in the small player at the top right of our homepage. We're also on the Facebook page today of the Walled Lake Consolidated School District. We thank their entire team for joining us on today's edition of the Megacast. Ken Gutman, their superintendent, will be joining us to kick off the 11 o'clock hour. And as always, joining me from her home studio in the city of Keego Harbor, here is Ronnie Dahl.
Tyler, I'm just not feeling it today.
Yeah, that rain really takes it out of you, Ronnie. I wasn't feeling it either. I got up this morning. I didn't really look outside and see the conditions out there because I just saw the general morning light coming in through my windows. And then I turn on the news, and the first thing I see is the meteorologist there pointing to just a block full of rain all over our local area. I walk outside, and it's exactly the kind of day you would think it would be.
Right? It's like, I don't know. But I will say, so I set my alarm early this morning as well because I wanted to see the cool moon that we were supposed to have. But of course, you wake up and it's just cloudy and then try to get the dog out when the rain was just a sprinkle. But no, she doesn't want to go out yet. She wants to go for a puppuccino. And so, of course, by the time we get over to the drive-through to get her little puppuccino, it starts pouring down rain at that point. So I feel like I've had a full day and it's only 10 o'clock.
Yeah, the rain really takes it out of you, this kind of weather. You know, we don't get it. We haven't gotten it as much as we usually do during the April and early May portion of the year. Now we're in, of course, late May, and it's sneaking in here and there. But, you know, especially after we've had all those days of sun and the warmth outside, and it's been nothing but beautiful day after beautiful day, to have such a harsh transition right back to rainy, a little bit chilly, just gray and droopy, it really takes the energy out of you early.
Right, and I wanted to see the cool moon.
I didn't even know about that. I didn't hear about that until, again, this morning when I turned on the weather report and the meteorologist mentioned that cool moon that we were having earlier on in the year, early on in the day, that little mini eclipse, I think was the verbiage that they had used. And I had no idea. I didn't hear about it yesterday, didn't hear about it last night. I guess yesterday I spent half the day under a rock after we did the Megacast.
Yeah, it was supposed to be happening this morning from like 5:45 a.m. until about 6:15. But the weather was crap here. I did go out last night about 12:31 to look at it, but again, it was a full moon and it looked cool, but the clouds were covering it. So, you know, it's just like whenever that seems to happen is when we always have cloudy weather. Just once, Mother Nature, can we have clear weather so we can see the cool moon?
Right. We only get so many days of sunlight over here each and every year, and so many days that aren't covered in clouds. Can't we have it when there's something cool going on so that, you know, we're walking outside, it's nice and warm, we're not completely uncomfortable, we're walking outside, we're looking up, we're seeing something cool in the sky, then we'll move on with our lives, go back to normal, and eventually, you know, stay inside for the entire winter. It's the exchange there, Mother Nature. Come on.
So we're also getting ready for the garage sale because Keego Harbor, Sylvan Lake, they have their citywide garage sale this weekend. And my sister lives in Bloomfield Hills, and they can't have garage sales there.
Interesting.
So my house always tends to become the dumping ground for the garage sale. But it takes a lot of work to set up for a garage sale, I'm telling you.
Yeah, a lot of work goes into it. You got to go through all your belongings and decide what you want to put out and how you want to price it and what's going to entice people to actually get it out of your possession and into theirs and away from your home too. And then what are you going to do at the end of the day when all that stuff and it may or may not still be there. If you have a bunch of that stuff left over at the end of your garage sale, are you putting it back? Are you donating? You got to have all those plans out there. You got to have everything ready. You're basically opening up a shop in the matter of a few minutes or maybe a day or two, and then closing up and trying to liquidate all that stuff after the fact if it doesn't go away. It's like running a mini store on top of everything else you're doing.
Yeah, so I will say the forecast may be in our favor this weekend, though, because it's supposed to be somewhat cold. At least Friday. It could rain as well, but we, obviously have a garage, but also a tent to put things under. So the fact that it's not going to be 90 and sunny like last weekend may mean more people are going to be going to the garage sale. So we'll see.
Yeah, a little bit fairer conditions. People not gonna be as heat averse and trying to make quick stints outside, but maybe out there for more extended periods of time. Hopefully that does bode well for all the people that are going to be participating in the garage sales in Keego Harbor and Sylvan Lake this weekend as they try to do some late spring cleaning, some last-ditch spring cleaning as we head into the summer season.
So with that, do you have big plans for Memorial Day weekend, Tyler?
Not any big plans for the weekend right now. Probably spend Memorial Day Sunday, the Sunday before, with my dad and my brother for a little bit that afternoon. And then Monday I'll be in here in the morning at least for a virtual ceremony through the Pine Lake Cemetery that they do every year. And that's about the only thing that's going on, only traditional thing that's going on here in the greater West Bloomfield area, that other than some other smaller events that we will be covering on Memorial Day. So I'll be here for a little bit on the day of, but the weekend of, just a couple little plans. How about you?
Yes, so obviously, it's such a big thing here in Keego to have the Memorial Day parade. Same thing, Sylvan Lake, that's not happening this year, just because, you have to remember, they're having to make these decisions weeks prior. So who knew we would have been in the state that we were, because you think it was only a few weeks ago that we were in like a third surge here in the state of Michigan. So, but Keego Harbor did add our neighborhood to the citywide garage sale this weekend. I think before they said they weren't going to do it, but I saw the signs pop up at the entranceways over the last couple of days. So should still be pretty busy here in the area. Hey, do you ever go to Cedar Point?
I haven't been in many years. The last time I went to Cedar Point, I was a camp counselor for the summer, and just happened to be I was in weekly camps, and one of those weekly camps, one of my weeks, happened to finish their week over at Cedar Point for a day. So that was the last time I've been there. It's been a few years, though.
Well, Cedar Point, though, also having a problem right now trying to get enough workers. So Cedar Point announced it is going to be closing for 2 days a week in the coming weeks as it tries to fill out staffing for the summer months. In a post on the company's Facebook page, officials said the company is offering several incentives to potential employees that they hope will draw in enough workers to open for a full schedule. So the company announced closures are going to be taking place on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, pretty much for the month of June. And that's according to the company's reservation website. Cedar Point is requiring reservations, by the way, ahead of your visit in order to try to control capacity in the park. So those who have made reservations for the days the park is now set to be closed are going to be contacted by the company. The Cedar Point Shore Water Park will also be closed on those days. Cedar Point has already raised its hourly wage to a minimum $20 an hour and is issuing a $500 signing bonus for new and returning workers. Company says it has already added 300 full-time employees, but is in need of more workers to keep the parks running. So I love Cedar Point. I try to get there, if not at least once a year. I'm a big roller coaster person.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it's something that people love to go to in the summer months, and people flock to from all over Ohio and, of course, Michigan to visit. And not having the employees to keep the park open is definitely going to impact a lot of people's summer fun, especially as we're starting to come out of this pandemic. And what's really interesting here to me is that while they are offering these increased wages and they are offering these signing bonuses, that they're continuing to even have those struggles even despite that, because these are in many cases seasonal jobs, and maybe people are averse to going back to a job that's going to be so temporary. So many struggles and many facets, even for the most fun jobs that are offering competitive wages and signing bonuses, even as we continue to have this ongoing struggle to get people to go back into the workforce in many places and many different industries.
Michigan did pass a sad milestone yesterday. Michigan reported 66 COVID-19 deaths on Tuesday, pushing the state past 19,000 since the pandemic started in March 2020. So there have now been 19,053 confirmed COVID-19 deaths and 1,206 probable ones in the state of Michigan. The state, which is ranked 10th in population, has the 8th most deaths in the entire country. But in terms of the death rate per 100,000 people, Michigan does rank 14th. Michigan also reported 739 confirmed coronavirus infections yesterday, continuing the state's downward arc in cases. So for the past week, the daily average has been just over 1,000. 33% lower than the average of 1,500 per day just a week ago. So Michigan has a population of about 10 million. It is nearing 1 million total cases of the coronavirus, as there have been over 885,000 confirmed cases since the pandemic began. So some sad numbers. I will say too, I know that we've had Charlie LaDuff on the show before. And as we know that Charlie LaDuff is a journalist, investigative reporter, has his own independent podcast now, the No BS News Hour with Charlie LaDuff. He did recently sue the Whitmer administration to try to get the actual numbers of the COVID deaths in some of our nursing homes. And so he just posted an article on Deadline Detroit that they got some of those results back. And you know what? The state doesn't know how many of these deaths are directly related to some of our nursing homes, because the data that they were collecting is not accurate. So if you want to find out more, of course, support Charlie and independent journalism, and you can read that on Deadline Detroit.
Yeah, really sad and frankly shocking revelation that some of these numbers were clearly not carefully handled, especially earlier on in the pandemic when we had such major issues with COVID-19 cases and deaths in these nursing homes. And we've seen it in other states where they've had similar issues, most notably so that in New York, where the numbers, in that case it's a little bit different. In those cases, those numbers were fudged and they were not being accurately compiled. In this case, it just seems like they have been mishandled, and we don't really know all that information yet. And it's good to have independent journalists who are working to clear that confusion up for the general public, who does need to know this information, especially if our leaders and the powers that be that are out there tasked with protecting the public, and particularly the public health, if they have dropped the ball, so that in the future we can make better decisions and hopefully have better processes in place that prevent unnecessary cases and deaths should there be another pandemic anytime soon.
Well, let's hope that we've lived through the one for the next 100 years, right?
Hopefully.
So, hey, with that too, the CDC says now at least 50% of American adults are now vaccinated. And of the more than 130 million people in the United States who have been fully vaccinated against COVID-19, there have been reports of at least 10,262 breakthrough infections. That's, again, according to the CDC. A breakthrough infection occurs when someone tests positive for coronavirus more than 14 days after the second dose of the Pfizer or Moderna vaccine or the single dose of the J&J shot. So roughly a quarter of the breakthrough cases, though, didn't have any symptoms. They were likely detected through routine testing. And of the 955 people who were hospitalized, about a third were in the hospital for reasons unrelated to COVID-19 or were asymptomatic. About 160 people, about 2%, died. 28 of the deaths were unrelated to COVID-19. The CDC didn't report, though, whether the people had underlying conditions such as obesity. Now, the majority of the breakthrough infections were women. 63%. And majority of the patients were 40 to 74 years old. Keep in mind, though, the report does caution the public these cases are likely an underestimate because most people who have been fully vaccinated aren't being tested on a regular basis now, and that's partly due to the CDC guidelines saying that if you're fully vaccinated and you've been exposed to someone with COVID-19, you no longer have to be tested or quarantined if you do not show any symptoms.
Yeah, and these breakthrough cases are going to happen. This is not uncharacteristic of the after results of vaccinations, as these vaccines that are available to the public are not eradicating necessarily COVID-19. They're preventing severe cases, and while in most cases here, for lack of better terms, those that are vaccinated are very unlikely to have these breakthrough cases. They are going to happen here and there, and then these vaccines, their greatest protection is providing symptoms that aren't going to be as severe as they would be for those that are not vaccinated against COVID-19.
Right, and we know that no vaccine is 100% accurate.
Correct.
Excuse me. So with that too, we are starting to get back to normal, though, Tyler, because I saw just before we came on the air that they announced Faster Horses is going to be returning to the Michigan International Speedway this summer.
Yeah, maybe they need to go about moderate speed with those horses this summer as we're starting to come out of here. Maybe not too fast. Hopefully they're a little bit cautious. But yeah, we're starting to see things come back. Different pillars of our summer are coming back. People are planning events. People are going out and having fun. We're seeing people out and about without masks on. And what's really showing me evidence that we're starting to go back to normal is every little thing that people are doing is weirding me out, because these are things that people haven't been doing for a year, being close together, not wearing masks. I'm seeing people's faces, and I'm not entirely sure what that's all about, because I haven't seen people's faces in over a year.
So with that, as a reminder, you can always get the latest headlines. Just go to civiccentertv.com, click on coronavirus, and there you'll find the latest headlines that we post each and every morning. Also at the top of the page, direct links to the CDC if you want to read some of these reports for yourself, along with the state of Michigan, Oakland County, and our local municipalities. We're going to take a quick break here for you on this Wednesday. It is Wednesday, right?
It is Wednesday, yes.
Okay. It's just a weird week already. With that, on this Wednesday edition of the MegaCast, when we come back, we are going to be talking cookies. That's next here on the MegaCast.
I want to get back to seeing my grandbabies every Sunday and smothering them with big hugs and kisses.
I want to get back to football games with my boys.
I want to get back to feeling and touching, connecting with the people around me.
I want to get back to family dinners and my grandma's mac and cheese.
I want to get back to real grocery shopping, taking my time, walking down every aisle, smelling the tomatoes and melons, having a free sample or two, or three.
COVID-19 has changed how we live and how we feel. But now, there are vaccines. And they are the first step that let us get back to feeling optimistic about the days ahead of us. It's okay to have questions.
Is it safe?
Should I get it?
Should I wait?
Now, get the facts. Learn more at getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision when vaccines are available to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too.
Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and experiences connect through conversation, and it feels good.
This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope, too.
Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together. Start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
Over a decade ago, the journey to a COVID vaccine began. Building upon research on other coronaviruses, scientists continued with months of research and development, 3 phases of clinical trials with tens of thousands of diverse volunteers, then peer review and authorization to deliver a safe and effective vaccine that will protect all of us. Discover the facts for yourself at michigan.gov/COVID vaccine.
with us here on the Wednesday edition of the Megacast. I'm Ronnie Dahl here in my home studios. Tyler Keith holding things down for us back there in West Bloomfield. As a reminder, we're here Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. until noon live. You can catch us on Civic Center TV, Birmingham area municipal access, as well as cable, channel 15 on Comcast 99, AT&T. You can also listen to us on the radio, 89.3 Lakes FM, 88.1 FM The Biff. And then today we want to say thank you to the Walled Lake Consolidated School District for allowing us to live stream today's edition of the Megacast on their Facebook page. You know, for so many of us, as we start to emerge from the pandemic, and it is the summer months, we all know about like the freshman 15, but I think over the past year, it's more like the COVID 20. And one of the reasons we like sweets, comfort food. Let's bring in Anthony White. He's the owner and operator for Crumbl Rochester Hills. I have heard your cookies are absolutely amazing.
Yeah, no, thank you. They are amazing. They're the world's best cookies. And I appreciate you, you guys, Ronnie, Tyler, having me on the Megacast. So thank you. It's an honor.
So with that, how many cookies have you eaten over the past year?
Oh my gosh. So my wife and I, we found it, we came across Crumbl in Arizona. I was stationed in Arizona before moving back to Michigan last June, August timeframe. And I don't want to say hundreds because that's an absurd amount of cookies for the size that we have. But it's a lot. It's up there. So.
But you know, for you though, it's really just product testing, so it's allowable.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yep.
So with that, Anthony, tell us more about the business. So you said that you tasted it for the first time in Arizona. So it's a franchise, and then you moved back and you opened up. How long have you been open?
Yeah, that's correct. Well, Crumbl was founded in 2017 in Utah by Jason and Sawyer Hemsley. Our location has only been open since March 10th. And like you said, yes, Ronnie, is a franchise. We were the second store open in Michigan. Currently, there's 3 right now.
What makes this cookie company different?
Honestly, the people who support and Jason and the team and Sawyer, the team, they're outstanding, and they really do a great job of branding, and the cookies are just amazing. I mean, we love the product, and that's why, we wanted to invest in them. And our rotating menu, we have over 120 flavors, and we serve 4 different cookies every week. So, and those cookies change Sunday evening. So on Sunday evenings, you can see the next week's flavors. And I think that's our niche, besides being the world's best cookies. It's a brand new menu every week. It's not like going to a restaurant where they have seasonal things. I mean, we have, it's weekly. It's amazing.
So with that, it kind of keeps you on your toes, but I have to ask you, what in the world were you thinking opening up a cookie shop in the middle of a pandemic?
Honestly, I've always been into franchising. I watched the movie Blind Side when it first came out, and I honestly, I forget the main character's name, but he asked the little boy, how does Dad get so wealthy? And he said he owns like 100 Taco Bells. And I was like, man, you can own a Taco Bell? That's crazy. So, I've always been interested in franchising. And then, I heard somebody say one time, just invest in what you love. And I love Crumbl cookies. I mean, I was an addict in Arizona, and, my wife and I, we always wanted to own a business, and we just thought it was the perfect fit. God doesn't give us a spirit of fear. And so we didn't worry about, the pandemic. We just kind of wanted to do what we wanted to do.
I love that. Just jump in. And with that, we're talking with Anthony White. He's the owner operator for Crumbl in Rochester Hills. And the reviews on Yelp are crazy, off the chart. People are raving about the cookies. They said it's a cookie monster's dream come true. What makes these cookies so different and so unique?
Well, they're baked fresh every day. So, that definitely helps. We take different types of desserts, pies, cakes, and candies, and the corporate team combines those, to make the perfect cookie. There's been hundreds and thousands, millions of dollars spent in R&D. They take the cookies to the people. New cookies that they're coming out with, they take them to the streets. I mean, when Jason and Sawyer first started, I mean, they were taking these cookies to convenience stores, grocery stores, and that same concept is still, integrated in the company today. So we really like the people's feedback. We love the comments.
What are some of the favorite ones?
Oh, well.
Or too many to pick.
Yeah, obviously, but I'll give you a couple. The chilled Twix we had recently was absolutely amazing. My wife's favorite. I'm a huge churro fan. But honestly, the chocolate chip, when it's warm, fresh out of the oven, it's truly an award-winning cookie.
So with that, if you ever need a cookie taster, I'm happy to volunteer my services.
Absolutely, come on over. We'd love to give you some sample.
But could you hold the calories?
Yeah, we can try. We can work on that.
So we're talking with Anthony White. He's the owner-operator for Crumbl Rochester Hills. With that too, Anthony, on an employee front, are you guys still trying to manage it with you and your wife, or have you been able to hire some employees?
Oh, I got to tell you, the amount of applications we receive daily is just a true blessing. It's amazing, the people who want to work there.
You are in such a great spot. Do you understand that? Because that is the opposite story than what we're hearing from so many other businesses right now.
Yeah, I mean, God's blessed us. I say it because it's true. I don't know what it is about Crumbl that people love. People want to they want to work there. They want to be part of the team. It's a great environment. If you haven't been in there, we really like to have a good time. I mean, the music's going. The staff they work extremely hard to keep up with the demand because the Rochester Hills customers have just been so amazing. But we really love to just have a great time. I mean, the second like Miley Cyrus hits on, you get a little dance party in there. And I think people, when they come in, they see that and they want to be a part of it. So.
And with that, what are the hours?
So operationally, we sell cookies from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Thursday. And then 8 a.m. To midnight, Friday and Saturday. But we have bakers coming in at 4:30, 5 a.m. And they don't leave till 1 o'clock in the morning prepping. So it's almost a 24 operation, 24 hours operation now.
So what you're basically telling us, Anthony, is it's okay to have cookies for breakfast.
Yeah, if you're not having cookies for breakfast, that's a problem.
So
you get a line at 8 o'clock in the morning. So it's a real thing. People are doing it.
Really? And what's amazing to me too, is you think about this a lot of times, people would buy maybe cookies and you take them into work. But we have so many people that are remote working right now, but even so, when they're just now getting back to the office, kind of that group food is not happening like it used to be. So who is your core customer right now? Just hungry cookie fanatics?
Yeah, well, the corporate core customers is the soccer's moms, and I don't say that in a negative way or anything, but that's, they're a huge part of our customer base. But yeah, I don't really ask who they're buying cookies for. I don't judge. If they want to buy a party pack and eat it throughout the week, that's fine by me. But we do get a lot of people who deliver to businesses. A lot of thank you, a lot of gifts. I've seen a lot of them go to the Beaumont Hospital, to the staff over there. So I still think there's a lot of businesses that are trying to do things for their employees that are coming back to work.
I love that thought too, especially with so many of the hospital workers, because at the start of the pandemic, we saw so much of this where people were, buying lunches and cookies and treats for our frontline workers. But as this pandemic has kind of dragged on more than a year now, we're not seeing that as much. So it's good to hear that. With that, though, Anthony, what advice would you give to someone else that is thinking about starting up a business right now? Because I know the one thing you just mentioned is, no fear.
Yeah. My biggest advice is, if you're going to start a business, invest in something that you love, because in a product that you love, and make sure there's a good team behind you, to support you, whether it's, franchise, if it's the corporate, or if you're doing something, just with yourself, make sure you have good support and do something that you love. I guess that would be my biggest advice.
So as we start to emerge from the pandemic, do you anticipate that this is going to be a crazy busy summer for you and your team?
Yeah, I do. The stores that do well, a lot of stores do well in some of the warmer climates like California and Florida. They're doing amazing. So I think as the summer comes about, we'll start even seeing, bigger surplus of customers. And it's kind of cool when you go to the store, people are hanging out in the parking lot. They got music hanging out. There's a little grassy area, and they have picnics. So I think that trend will continue over the summer for sure.
Anthony White with us here on the Megacast. He's the owner-operator, Crumbl Rochester Hills. And with that, Anthony, I know it's a franchise, but how do they come up with some of the new recipes? Because they're always evolving.
Yeah, like I said, they have an amazing R&D team out there in Utah. And, a lot of it is customer feedback. What types of cookies, do you want to see? What's your favorite candy, Butterfinger. All right, well, let's make that into a cookie. What's your favorite, cake? Let's make that into a cookie. So it's really a lot of customer feedback. And then, the team in Utah, takes their skills and talents and they turn into a cookie.
What's been the craziest flavor that you've seen?
I would say, like I said, the Chill Twix for us, from what I can remember, was our highest demand cookie.
So, but you guys aren't doing some of the crazy ones now, because I feel like every time you go to the store, like candy corn or the Peeps, they all have crazy flavors now. Like they had a hot tamales Peep. Who is eating a hot tamales Peep or a dill pickle Peep? I don't want that.
Yeah,
so you guys aren't doing anything crazy like that then. It's just sweet treats.
Yeah, the stuff that everybody I think really enjoys. Nothing too crazy. I don't know if you'll see a hot tamale Peep cookie. I sure hope not, at least. Right.
So do you work with your wife then?
I do. We try. We have 2 kids, and she's pregnant now, and I think she just hit 30 weeks today. So we try. It's fun. But I have an amazing staff there. I think right now we have like 60 employees, a lot of part-time. And so, yeah, they're amazing. They're amazing people.
Do you pay in cookies on the side?
Well, we have to make sure the staff, can honestly tell our customers which cookies are the best. So, we always take off a batch and we cut them up because, nobody needs to eat that many cookies. Especially while they're trying to work, right? You just get sick. But there's nice employee discount freebie there. So
with that too, Anthony, I have to ask, because I remember I had a friend, she worked at Baskin Robbins while we were in high school. And she said after a while, you get so sick of ice cream. She couldn't eat ice cream. Is that the case too with your product and the cookies? Are you like, I can't eat another cookie?
No, it's not for me, but I weigh 220 pounds, so I'm not like the smallest guy in the world. But I think I've heard a couple of the high school kids say, I don't need to eat a cookie, but then 2 days later I see them snacking on one. So I don't think we have that problem too much in the store.
That is so funny. Well, Anthony, we so appreciate your time. Do you think that maybe this is going to expand? Are you considering opening up a second location?
Yeah, absolutely. We're in the process of a few more stores in the Southeast region here, South Metro Detroit area. And, I know the people out in Ann Arbor are also on the move. So you'll definitely see a few more Crumbl cookies pop up here in Detroit. You won't have to drive so far. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. I'm looking forward to trying them because according to the Yelp reviews, they are by far the best cookie that you're going to taste in Metro Detroit. Anthony White with us here on the Megacast. He's the owner operator, Crumbl Rochester Hills. We want to say congratulations on the new business, but also on the upcoming arrival of your new baby as well. You really are taking on a challenge in the middle of this pandemic.
Yeah, it keeps life interesting, and fun. So.
Well, we appreciate your time. Again, do you want to let people know where you're located before we say goodbye?
Yeah, the Crumbl Rochester Hills is off of South Rochester Road, right in front of the Imagine in Target area, 2575 South Rochester Road. I just want to say thank you to all the customers that have come out and supported us. My wife and I, staff, we really appreciate you guys, your business. To every customer who has maybe not had the best experience, I do apologize. We do not do anything intentionally, and we work really hard. The staff works really hard every day. So I just want to let the customers know we appreciate you, and we thank you guys so much.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Anthony White, owner-operator, Crumbl Rochester Hills. Thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Ronnie. You guys have a great rest of your day.
You too. And when we come back, we are going to jump from cookies to coffee. That's next here on the Megacast.
Wearing a mask is more than protection. It's a bridge to better days. The path back to celebrations with family. Nights out on the town with friends. Game days with your favorite sports teams. And the thrill of live concerts. But until we can all get the COVID-19 vaccine and build community immunity, which will take time, we all need to continue to stay careful. Because Michigan's recovery is depending on you, and so are your family, friends, and neighbors. So even after you're vaccinated, wear a mask, avoid large gatherings, and social distance. One day in the near future, we will all be able to put this pandemic behind us. But until then, spread hope, not COVID. Learn more at michigan.gov/coronavirus. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Great to have you with us here on the Megacast. I'm Ronnie Dahl here in my home studios. Mr. Tyler Keith holding things down for us as always back there in West Bloomfield. I'll be joining you next week. Right? Back in the studio?
Yes, next week, Tuesday, our first show. Next week, of course, we have no show on Memorial Day. We're having that day off from the program. But when we come back on Tuesday, June 1st, Ronnie and I will both be in the studio together for the first time in a long time, Ronnie.
So can I wear my slippers?
Go for it. Yes, we encourage it.
I will say this morning I forgot them. They were upstairs, so I texted my husband.
Oh, no.
Hey, can you bring my slippers down?
Yes, Woody's getting production assistant credits on today's edition of the Megacast.
There you go. It's been a very unique and interesting year, and I'm sure our next guest feels somewhat the same way. Nathan Hamood with us here on the Megacast. He's the president and director of coffee roasting operations at Dessert Oasis Coffee Roasters. Nathan, it's great to have you back with us. How are you?
I'm well. How are you? Great to be here.
I will tell you, I need a big cup of coffee. I wish you guys delivered, or I live closer.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I feel like we could all use a really big cup of coffee today and just about every day this year.
Hey, so I love the story behind your business because I know that you guys are a family-operated business. But Nathan, can I ask you, how many cups of coffee do you drink a day?
It's honestly kind of hard to really count and pinpoint. It's so much of what I do is constantly tasting new coffees and stuff, and so I try not to drink as many full cups. So I feel like the numbers don't count if I don't finish the whole cup, right? I think that's the rule.
I like that rule. Can I apply that to wine as well?
I'd say why not? Yeah.
Nathan Hamood with us here on the Megacast. He's the president and director of coffee roasting operations at Dessert Oasis Coffee Roasters. Nathan, it's been a few months since we've checked in with you last. Are things starting to get a little bit better?
Yeah, warmer weather has certainly helped just with general foot traffic and the flow of things. We still have capacity restrictions in our stores. So, of course, still limited capacity and still, some COVID guidelines in place. But we've also been able to maintain some of the things that we started doing during the pandemic that were at that time to really kind of supplement sales. Now they've been still running and still able to sort of supplement the increased dine-in sales. So we've been doing a lot more online sales and things like that. And so that sort of does help to supplement anything sort of down we're seeing right now.
And so with that too, do you anticipate that that's going to stick around going forward?
The online stuff, yeah, I think there's a lot of things that we learned this past year that were really kind of interesting perspectives for us. One of the things we really wanted to do, even before COVID, was push into our online sales and our e-commerce a little bit for selling bags of coffee and brewing gear and merch and things like that. But we had really kind of just played around with it little by little, whereas COVID really kind of forced us to jump into it head first. And really try to execute on it as quickly as possible. So I think it's something that has shown to be pretty viable that we'd like to really kind of continue developing on. I don't think we limited all our emphasis or focus on in-person and, in-person customer-centric hospitality like we've always been very focused on. But it is kind of a nice kind of supplementary piece to have.
And so with that as well, Nathan, can you talk to us about the supply chain? How has it been for you and members of your team when it comes to trying to secure the supply?
Yeah, it can be very challenging for sure. I would say mostly, less so in the coffee itself. We've run into some delays with importing green coffee. All of our coffees are imported from other countries, obviously, because we're roasting them in-house. We're bringing in the raw products. We've had some delays at the ports and things like that, but for the most part, we've been, able to plan out far enough. One of the big problems, honestly, is just, paper products, things like that, our paper cups, the manufacturing, the transportation, all of that has really slowed down pretty dramatically. So in our stores, you'll see a few more blank cups rather than some of our custom printed cups and things like that. We're doing what we can to make sure we're staying stocked.
See, it's those little interesting things that so many of us and the general public we don't realize. And
you wouldn't think about it, right? It's we have from some of our cup suppliers timelines out as far as 6 months for orders of paper cups. It's pretty wild.
It's crazy. So I guess everyone, good time to be nice to the earth and bring in your own cup.
Yeah, it's a tough thing because especially with COVID, we were also doing a lot more, to go in general to keep things kind of more sanitary and create less contamination. But we're getting to the other side of it, and we've found some ways to sort of supplement our supply chain as well. So that's I feel like I keep talking about everything being kind of supplemental, and that's exactly kind of our focus right now is how we just stay really dynamic and adaptive.
Nathan Hamood with us here on the Megacast. He's the president and director of coffee roasting operations for Dessert Oasis Coffee Roasters. And with that, now when it comes to actually buying your coffee, the coffee bean, do you travel to the other countries and meet with the farmers yourself? And have you been able to do that over the past year?
So we actually don't currently. We mostly work with importers that do a lot of that travel. So we have some really great relationships with some really exceptional importers that they're doing the visits to the farms and really executing on the development of relationship with the farmer, but also really investing in their programs and infrastructure, which is something that I personally have felt like they are in a better position to do than we would be able to execute on as well as they do currently. But this past year, there's definitely been, a lot of restrictions with travel and stuff. So they've run into issues like that for sure. But for the most part, have still been able to maintain a lot of those relationships and still make the investment that they need to.
That's so important because maybe I watch too many documentaries or too much reality TV, because we do know when it actually comes to the coffee bean and you want to buy directly from the farmer, in some regions, the cartel can also try to manipulate and control some of the farmers. So it's great to support the farmers directly as well.
Exactly.
So, but crazy stories. I'm sure you watch some of those shows too.
Absolutely. And we talk a lot with the importers we work with, and, they have loads of experience in handling these types of things and creating really strong working relationships with farmers. But it's interesting to hear, a lot of the challenges and stories that they face for sure.
So with that, though, I will say, Nathan, I've only been in your shop once or twice, but to me, it's not a coffee shop, it's a community. So what's it been like over the past year as more and more people are getting vaccinated? Are they returning to the actual store and sitting down and having a cup of coffee?
We've definitely seen a return of that. It's certainly not at 100% yet. I'd love to see it, at 100% and, honestly even see growth from there, maybe 120% if we could. But, we're kind of making sure that we're safely taking those steps. Consumer confidence needs to be there as well. And I think it's getting there. It's just kind of piece by piece. That's certainly been a challenge of this past year and a half, is maintaining that level of community, because I think you're exactly right that this really is so much more than just a few coffee shops. It really is about community and engagement with our customers. And, it's certainly harder to do that with everything being virtual. And, for good periods of time, we had to be all to-go service, and, everything is just a little bit more disconnected, of course. But, we've found ways here and there to creatively engage, and now we're able to start continuing this transition into more in-person engagement and bringing back some of that feeling and liveliness.
What has the daily sales been like? Because I think about, so many people working remotely, even myself, so now you just make your cup of coffee at home instead of picking it up on your way into work. And I will say it never, ever, ever tastes as good. And so, but are people coming in midday just to kind of get out of their house at some place to go and get a great cup of coffee, rather than picking it up on the way into the office?
Yeah, that's been an interesting piece as well, is the change in traffic patterns, and it's been hard to honestly really isolate exactly what that new trend is, because it's very fluid and ever changing. It seems like people's schedules have certainly adjusted, and everyone's schedule has adjusted to a norm for them. But it's not based on the trends of others. So it's kind of interesting. It's been, very, very fluid for sure.
But as more people start to return to the office, I don't know if we'll ever get back to where we once were, now that so many companies have realized remote work does work, and in some ways is a cost savings to them as well. Do you anticipate this being like a long-term impact on, your coffee shops?
I think in some ways, I think there's certainly going to be a lot that's changed after this pandemic. I think, there's those changes in traffic patterns are likely to continue to some extent. I think we will see a lot of people really kind of yearning, though, for that that sort of in-person engagement as we safely can have that. I think so many people have been missing that human element. So I'm hearing of a lot of people sort of voluntarily going into work in person, and honestly seeing a lot of people come to one of our cafes to do their work remotely, which is kind of an interesting thing, right? It's like the idea was being able to stay home in your pajamas and do your work at home, but people are, really kind of also wanting to get out. So we may see more people wanting to work from cafes and at least be around others. So I think it's going to be just like some of the things we've learned this past year. Is it's all kind of about pivoting and really trying to meet customers where they are and doing what we can to make it comfortable and as viable for them as possible.
Well, I think your coffee shops are perfect middle ground, because it gets you out of the house, because after a while you get tired of looking at the same four walls, or maybe you have other people in the house, you just can't concentrate, but you don't want to go into the office. So it's like the perfect middle ground.
Totally. We think so. And, fortunately, it seems like a good number of customers are feeling that way. And I would expect that to kind of even grow from here as well.
So with that too, if we, do you want to tell us about some of your new products that you're going to be launching in the middle of a pandemic as well?
Sure. Yeah. Pivots have been the thing of this year for sure. So we actually just released a canned coffee. So it's a ready to drink iced coffee. That one, currently we're using a coffee from Ethiopia that we are serving in our cafes as well. It's a really awesome product because you can literally just take it with you on the go. I think a lot of people are getting out more and doing more things outside these days. And it's something that kind of plays well into that, to being able to do that. We released some prepackaged granola bars, basically, that are real easy kind of grab and go items. They're called Oasis bars. Those are things you can, take and run and, save for another time. We reintroduced some coffee scented candles that we used to stock. We have a whole bunch of little products that we've kind of rolled out just to, again, kind of meet customers where they are and make serving them even more viable.
So I know that you also have a coffee to help fight cancer.
We do, yeah. A regular customer of ours who had a really, of course, devastating diagnosis a while back. She had a fight with cancer that she ultimately won, which is incredible. She has been trying to raise money for the Henry Ford Health System's Crumbl and Brain Tumor Center for their Game on Cancer program. So we have a coffee that is raising money for that as well. $5 of every sale of that bag of coffee is going to their patient needs funds.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And so can people buy that one online?
You can, yep. So you can grab that in our stores by the bag, but you can also scoop it up online, yep.
So with that, again, we're speaking with Nathan Hamood. He's the president and director of coffee roasting operations at Dessert Oasis Coffee Roasters. And with that, you guys used to have live music. Is that coming back?
It will be coming back for sure. We've been having some conversations about that this whole time, really, but especially in these past few weeks, and trying to set some sort of timeline for when we think that return should be. But we're very excited to bring live music back as well.
Well, I just read the Faster Horses is coming back, and I know that is a huge festival that is outdoors, but still, if you can pack thousands of people in, I'm sure people would love to come to a more intimate setting and hear live music in your coffee shops.
For sure. And, we could take steps towards it, right? We currently already are able to safely have 50% capacity dining in at our stores, adding a musician who's behind plexiglass and things like that. It's it's, still adding something to the mix. So we want to take that step safely, but it doesn't seem like too far of a stretch for us now.
How confusing has it been for you and your team to try to keep up with some of the guidelines?
Quite, yeah. It's, there's been a lot changing and a lot changing fast. And I think there has been this whole pandemic, but I'm almost feeling like it's actually been even faster changes in this last bit. And some movements that seemed almost sort of back and forth to us. And, there's transition can definitely be a challenging thing with rolling out guidelines so fast.
It's, sometimes just for us as private individuals, it's confusing. I went to Eastern Market over the weekend. It was like, do you need a mask? Do you not need a mask? I'm so confused. They don't have it on the outdoor signs, but they have it on the indoor. Wait, I'm vaccinated. Can you not? Can you? So as a business owner, that's going to be confusing for you and your team as well.
It is, absolutely, because it is for us and it is for a lot of consumers. And so, we've been trying to do what we can to really kind of navigate it as smoothly as possible. We've maintained some of our precautions. We honestly didn't feel that we needed to be the first ones to roll everything back immediately. And we felt that for, the comfort of a lot of our customers and our staff, that it made sense to, make sure that we fully understood these guidelines, that we fully had the guidelines before we really started planning in how we sort of move the dial on rolling things back and being back to an even more normal place.
So with that, Nathan, give us your locations again.
Yeah, so we have a location in Rochester. That's right on Main Street in downtown Rochester. We have a location in downtown Royal Oak as well. That's right on Main Street, a couple doors down from 11 Mile. And then we have our location in Capitol Park in Detroit. That's on Griswold and State Street.
How is the Detroit location doing for you right now?
The Detroit location's been doing well. It's been, growing little by little. In-person office work is definitely one of the big pieces for Detroit businesses in general. So we were certainly feeling the decline in that. But what was positive is that we were at least seeing a lot of people coming to Detroit just to experience Detroit. And as mentioned earlier, with some more people working remotely from coffee shops, that helped to kind of pad some of that decline for sure.
Well, on the upside of that, it's easier to get parking downtown right now.
The parking has been nice for sure. Yep.
Nathan Hamood with us here on the Megacast. And Nathan, before we let you go, I also want to say congratulations. I understand you made the list. Crane's 20 in their 20s. Congratulations. That's a huge honor.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Much appreciated.
So what's that mean to you?
It's something that's been really cool because it is something that growing up and in the sort of start of my career in business has been a list that I've always paid close attention to, and I've always been very, very interested in seeing who was making that list and doing the things that they were in Metro Detroit. And so it's been really cool and a really cool honor to have been included this year.
Well, that is great, and it's very well earned as well.
Thank
and we
you.
want to say congratulations to you and also to your entire family and the team over there. It's been a rough year, but let's hope brighter days are ahead.
Absolutely. No, thank you so much.
Nathan Hamood with us, President and Director of Coffee Roasting Operations, Dessert Oasis Coffee Roasters. Please go ahead if you are in the area of one of their shops. Stop in, say hi, get a great cup of coffee, but also support local businesses because they make up our community and make us unique. So Nathan, again, we want to say thank you and a happy Memorial Day weekend to you.
Yeah, to you as well. Thanks so much for having me.
We'll take a quick break here on the Megacast, and when we come back, we will be joined by the Superintendent for the Walled Lake Consolidated School District. That's next here on the Megacast.
In times like these, we have to believe in each other.
And we believe that you'll do the right thing.
When it comes to stopping the spread of COVID.
Follow the 3 W's.
Wear a mask.
Wash your hands. Watch your distance.
And when it's your turn to get the vaccine, take your shot.
It all comes down to the golden rule.
Treat others the way you want to be treated.
We're so close, Michigan.
We can do this together.
Quitting smoking can improve your health, but it also protects your loved ones from secondhand smoke. Did you know there's no risk-free level of exposure to secondhand smoke? Smoke from cigarettes, e-cigs, and hookah can travel through ventilation systems and harm those around you. So clear the air and stop secondhand smoke. Call the Michigan Tobacco Quit Line at 1-800-784-8669. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Listening to 89.3 WBLD Orchard Lake, 88.1 WBFH Bloomfield Hills. I'm Ronnie Dahl here in my home studios. Tyler Keefe holding things down for us back there in West Bloomfield. Just another hour to go on the Wednesday edition of the Megacast. Tyler, I so wish I had a huge cup of great coffee right now.
Yeah, don't we all? I mean, this weather outside only making us even more tired. I had a cup of coffee this morning. I was nice and energized. The second I walked outside, it's like that coffee never happened. It just evaporated, and now it's raining back down also as water, so it's not even energizing.
Yeah, we should make these people like, hey, you need to, deliver us coffee to be on the show. I know you're not really supposed to do that.
Yeah, we probably shouldn't. It
sounds so good right now.
It sounds nice in theory.
It really does. Things are looking up, though. More and more people are starting to get vaccinated. Restrictions are starting to loosen up. Could that mean things are going to be normal for our schools come next fall? Let's bring in our good friend, Ken Gutman. He's the superintendent for the Walled Lake Consolidated School District. Always great having you with us. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Ronnie. Tyler, great to see both of you, although I wish someone would drop off coffee here. You said there was a great spot, but now I need coffee.
Right. And I will say, too, I just have one of those little Keurigs. And when you have a really great cup of coffee, you're like, boy, am I wasting time on this, K-Pod stuff. So
I guess food service coffee is out for you then, huh?
Yeah, we don't want that.
All right, I have nothing to offer then.
I will say I didn't start drinking coffee until it was like when I was reporting for Fox 2, that early morning shift in the wintertime and you were freezing. It was like you needed coffee.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
You learned to drink it. Hey, Superintendent, how are things going? Starting to feel a little bit better about the fall?
Yeah, I guess somewhat normal, but fall I feel a lot better than I do currently. All indications are we'll be open 5 days a week in person, and we'll get back to even being more normal than we are now.
So what's so hard about this, though, while we have so much focus on the vaccination, people tend to forget that vaccination doesn't include small kids, and they are the ones that are in the classrooms.
Well, that's right. And you talked about going into Costco and how, you don't know, do you have a mask? Do you not wear a mask? I'm in my office right now. I don't have a mask on. But if I walk into one of our schools, I still have to wear a mask because the CDC and MDHHS still expect that schools will have them. Not all of our students are eligible for a vaccine. So at this point, masks are still required in our schools. Will they be required in the fall? We don't know. We don't know what the summer will bring us. I think certainly a lot of people would be relieved if they were not required, if they were optional, but we still will continue to rely on the medical experts to tell us what we need to do.
How are things looking when it comes to remote learning as well as teaching? Is that going to continue, or will you have a hybrid situation?
Yeah, we won't do the hybrid again. We know the stress that placed on teachers and students. It was really hard to teach students who are in the classroom at the same time as teaching students who are at home. We are offering an option for a virtual classroom in the fall, K-12, but our response rate has been incredibly low. It seems that the majority of people would prefer to have their children in a face-to-face setting. So we're looking right now, we'll be analyzing over this week and next week, as to whether or not we can actually run a virtual option based on the low numbers. So it's interesting. It's really interesting. Now, the long-term view, though, Ronnie, let me just say, I think that we've learned this year that virtual learning does work for some. And so what does this mean for the future of education? Does it mean that we can start offering some evenings, some weekends, some online classes, particularly for maybe our juniors and seniors in high school? Maybe. Maybe we can get out of that 7 to 3 rut that we've been in for the last 100 years in public education, and we can open things up like we do on college campuses for some online learning opportunities at different times and on different days.
Yeah, that is really going to be interesting, the long-term impact this pandemic has had on the education system overall, because do you worry that you're also going to lose students in the district because maybe now they discovered they just want to be online?
You know, it's certainly that's in our thought that perhaps they would prefer a full online option. And if we're not able to offer one, will they go somewhere that does? Sure, it's possible. And I certainly applaud anyone who's doing what's best for their child. If virtual works better, I think that's wonderful. I do have a lot of confidence in our staff, though. And what we've seen from the response rate from our community has been, we want to get our kids back with your staff in our schools and back to what we offer here. So while I certainly worry about losing students, I'm happy if they find a place that's good for them.
And too, you know, for me, school wasn't even so much about the learning per se, but it was really about the activities and the interaction. And, you know, like for so many kids, like sports is why they go to school. Sports could be the motivator why they get the good grades. And when you take that piece of the component out, are you losing some of those kids or losing that interest as well?
Sure. I think for most students, having that opportunity to interact with other students, with teachers, it's the passing time in the hallway, it's the cafeteria, it's recess at the elementary level where friendships are made and broken, right? I mean, there's so much that socialization contributes to our learning, and I think it does work for most of our students.
So with that, Superintendent, are you planning on summer school classes this year? And do they still call it summer school?
We do. Yeah, it's school in the summer. We still call it summer school. So we are offering it. And, you know, we're looking at the response rates. It's been pretty good. We're still looking for some people to teach it. We're not fully staffed yet. We understand that there are a lot of teachers out there who really just want to go sit on a beach or not be connected to a device this summer.
And they've earned it.
They have earned every bit of, they've earned 2 summers this year. So, but yes, we are offering summer school again this year, and we expect to have a pretty decent enrollment.
So with that, when we're talking about summer school, would those be in person or virtual?
Those will be in person this year.
So
we may have a virtual option for some of it, but for a course or two. But no, primarily it's in person.
So kids are going to have to get dressed and make their way into the classroom.
They will have to do that. Yes, they'll have to be fully dressed.
So with that, over the past year, if we can kind of focus on the budget, I know that I believe your school district, your budgets are due, coming up here shortly?
June 30th.
It does look as if money is coming to some of the school districts, but where it comes from and how to budget is still kind of up in the air.
Yeah, there are 2 aspects to it. We've received a good amount of federal funding, and we're grateful for that. The difficulty is you can't balance your budget on one-time funding because you can't create legacy costs that you can't afford. And so we're really cautious with that. We're still awaiting our state funding. We saw that the school aid fund is up significantly over what was expected. So we're hopeful that we'll be able to get a good budget that allows us to go into next year ahead of the game. But we also have all of our contracts up right now. We want to make sure we treat our employees fairly. We want to make sure that we're putting the right resources into schools and into curriculum and into education. So there's still a lot to do. We're just hopeful we have a budget before we've asked the legislature to give us a budget by June 1st. Well, that's next week, because we have to submit a balanced budget by June 30th. So we'll be cautiously optimistic.
Well, and it does seem, we've interviewed a couple of our state senators, and it seems like they are making a little bit more headway in that arena than what they were a few months ago. So hopefully the 2 sides can come together so that you can do the work that you need to do. One thing that did come out of the pandemic is we definitely saw the divide in learning when it came to things such as internet access, as well as computers. So when you're looking ahead to the budget going forward, will those services be a part of that budget to provide it for the students? Because not every home has the internet right now.
Yeah, that's a really good question. We were able to pivot and have devices available for any student who needed one, to provide hotspots where necessary. We at some point, we had a pickup here at our building, but we dropped off devices to homes. We did whatever it took. Yes, in terms of our budget for next year, we do expect we're collecting our Chromebooks back because the lease is up, but we will be purchasing new Chromebooks in case we need to pivot again, or in case we will see increased use of them over the next year or 2 years or 3 years. So we were building that in, not just because we may have to go back to virtual at some point, I hope not, but because we do see that there's more comfort with some virtual options. And for example, I will tell you, IEPs and conferences being online, parents seem to enjoy a lot of that. And certainly there are those who'd rather be in a room, and there are teachers who'd rather be in a room with parents and have those conversations, but there are more opportunities. So yes, we're preparing for those eventualities as well.
So when you're having these conversations as well, and you're looking at the budget, and let's say the parents and the teachers, they're seeing these headlines of trillions of dollars being set aside for our schools. How do you take that headline and put it into a reality conversation into which you were just addressing, the legacy cost? And, they're saying, but you're getting all of this money.
Yeah, so we're not rich. And so, to dispel the headlines, the schools are not flush with cash, but we've done well with our federal funding. I think we just have to keep explaining it. And I think part of it is just this whole transparency of here's what we received and here's how we're spending it. And so, here's what it can be used for, because there are strings attached to a lot of the federal dollars. Our Assistant Superintendent of Business Services, Terry Less, did a presentation at our board meeting last week. I know a lot of people don't watch board meetings, but there is the availability to replay that. We're trying to be as transparent as possible with how those funds are used. So it does dispel the notion, again, of us being flush. And you also have to look at the way it's distributed. A district like Detroit schools received $300 million, some number like that, but we receive a very small fraction of that. It's based on a number of factors. And so certainly we receive a decent share. But if you look at the equity and how the funds were distributed, I would argue we would have liked to have had more.
Most definitely. Ken Gutman with us here on the Megacast, Superintendent for the Walled Lake Consolidated School District. We've talked about it before. I know that as the school year is winding down, more and more teachers are deciding to retire. Still a struggle to get enough staff for you and your team?
We've been really fortunate, and I'm nervous saying that, in that we did not have the same retirement rate we had last year. So that's a good thing. But certainly when you look at the future of education, when you see universities enrollment in education schools down by 2/3, and you see that 40-something% more teachers nationwide are retiring, or maybe it's statewide, retiring this year, obviously there's a need. And so we foresee a shortage going forward across the country. Teaching doesn't look as attractive. Teachers have been maligned for years and under a microscope. And quite frankly, I'm so proud of what our teachers accomplish. And I love that I did teach, and I love that most of my children are going into education to be teachers. We just need a lot more people to do it, because it would be a shame to not have the right people or enough people in our classrooms to provide what we know we can provide for our children.
Yeah, and if anything that has come out of this past year, parents have really come to realize how important teachers are to the growth of their kids. And so from that arena, you're hoping that it sparks an interest and a passion in some people to maybe, go into teaching, even if they're older, or do, maybe try it out, be a sub for a while.
Yeah, it's a wonderful profession, Ronnie. I love it. I know so many of our staff members love it. We are doing a teacher cadet program at high school level, so we are going to start introducing students to the teaching profession early on. And maybe that has an effect as well, that we grow our profession organically. I know other districts have something similar as well. Some districts do. And to ascertain that interest early on may be helpful.
That seems like it's a great program, a cadet program.
Absolutely. Learn a little bit more about teaching and what's involved early on. And, then maybe there's a decision throughout the university years to switch into it or start there.
So with that, again, we're talking with Ken Gutman. He's the superintendent for the Walled Lake Consolidated School District. And I will say, I have a friend that she's been subbing a lot and she loves it and now wants to go into teaching full time. But you look at this and I will say in my situation, these kids are smarter than me. Are you smarter than a fifth grader? No, I'm not.
No, and what they're learning in fifth grade is not what we learned in fifth grade.
They grow up so quick.
They do. It's a challenge. I know that parents who had their children home during the quarantine know that what they're learning now is complicated and it's not easy to teach.
It is not. And, with that too, if I can ask you, Superintendent, because we have seen a big shift recently to try to get students interested in some of the trades as well, because a few years ago, everything shifted to that 4-year degree. Now it's starting to shift back because we need skilled trade employees in so many various industries. Is that part of the conversation on the high school level within your district?
Yeah, for sure it's part of the conversation. Our job is not to prepare students for college, it's to prepare them for college, career, trades, military, whatever it takes. It's for, so yes, a part of that conversation is the trades. And I will tell you that when you look at, they're struggling to find employees in that sector. It's a reality. We've met with local businesses. I know along in Wixom, which is part of our district, there's a sector there. I've met with a number of employers who are really struggling to find employees. We try to make those connections. We also partner with Oakland Schools. Oakland Schools has a technical center that actually is in our district. And that's a great opportunity for our students to be involved in trades as well. So it's not just part of the conversation, it's a part of what we do.
Hey, so many times you think about, these career fairs, or when you're in high school, having various speakers come in just so that you can try to expose the kids to as many different careers and paths out there. What's that been like in the pandemic? Has it been put on hold, or have you tried to do some of those virtually?
There's been minor success with that virtually. It's not the same as it's been in the past where we were able to bring people into our buildings. We generally hadn't had people into our buildings until recently. So that's a little bit of a struggle. But to your point, most students don't know what they want to do. Most people change majors, 2-3 times? But we also know that they're not exposed to a number of careers. Part of our responsibility is to expose children to career opportunities so they're able to make an informed decision later and not just go into the 1 or 2 careers that they had heard about.
Yeah, I'm really surprised. I feel like so many college students today, it's almost like they have to pick their path before they even enroll in college. I'm like, I started out in international business. How I ended up in, media communications, who knows? But, that's what college is about. It's, take a bunch of classes, figure out what you like, what you don't like, so that you don't end up in a career and spend so much money on something that you end up not liking. But, a lot of that just comes from exposure.
It does. It really does. And certainly, I don't know what the statistics are of how many times people change jobs or careers throughout their lifetime. I'm sure it's more than people actually change majors in college. So the more exposure you get early on, the more opportunities you get to survey courses or see what you like to do, the better served you'll be. And you'll save a little money too.
Exactly. College is expensive now.
It is. I have 2 in college right now, let me tell you.
You're like, I know. Ken Gutman with us. He's the superintendent for the Walled Lake School District. And with that, as I said, it's been a few weeks since we've talked to you. Anything else maybe you want to share that I didn't ask about?
We have a big ceremony coming up, a little commencement ceremony coming up at the beginning of June. We're really excited, a week from Sunday. Really excited about that. And we'll properly honor our seniors, let them cross the stage. It's not in our usual location. It is outdoors. It is in our district. But we'll do 3 commencement ceremonies in one day, as we typically do. And although it will be different, we know that our seniors have had a senior year unlike any other. And we look forward to recognizing their achievements and thanking them and sending them on their way to change majors and careers.
They will definitely enjoy that. Prom, is that happening this year?
Prom is happening. It's different. It's at our schools. It's outdoor. It'll be a take on prom. It'll be a little different than we've done in the past. And, maybe they look a little different next year. Maybe graduation looks a little bit different next year. You talk about those lessons learned during the pandemic. It gives us a chance to reflect and see what we want to do moving forward.
Just think about their 20-year reunion, the stories they are going to have.
They are. They have a story that we didn't have, that for 100 years, nobody's had a story like this. And so it will be interesting to hear the stories years from now, for sure.
Well, they are survivors. Superintendent, we so appreciate your time as always. And again, our gratitude and appreciation to you and your entire staff and team over there. It's been a crazy year, but fingers crossed, we're on the backside of this.
Well, I will also cross my fingers. And I will tell you, one of the benefits has been getting an opportunity to come talk to you and spend time here. And I really appreciate that opportunity. There are benefits that have come out of all of this. So thank you.
Well, you're welcome anytime, as long as we're still doing the show. We don't know.
Right. Okay, well, I hope you are.
Well, thanks again. We appreciate your time. We'll take a quick break here on the Megacast. And when we come back, Discover Your Spark will be with us. Looking for something for your kids to do this summer? This might be just the thing. That's next here on the Megacast.
Over a decade ago, the journey to a COVID vaccine began. Building upon research on other coronaviruses, scientists continued with months of research and development, 3 phases of clinical trials with tens of thousands of diverse volunteers, then peer review and authorization to deliver a safe and effective vaccine that will protect all of us. Discover the facts for yourself at michigan.gov/COVID vaccine. Wearing a mask is more than protection. It's a bridge to better days. The path back to celebrations with family. Nights out on the town with friends. Game days with your favorite sports teams. And the thrill of live concerts. But until we can all get the COVID-19 vaccine and build community immunity, which will take time, we all need to continue to stay careful. Because Michigan's recovery is depending on you, and so are your family, friends, and neighbors. So even after you're vaccinated, wear a mask, avoid large gatherings, and social distance. One day in the near future, we will all be able to put this pandemic behind us. But until then, spread hope, not COVID. Learn more at michigan.gov/coronavirus. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
We want to say thank you for taking time out of your Wednesday to be with us here on the Megacast. We're here Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. until noon live. If you happen to miss one of the episodes, we understand. Not everyone can hang out with us 2 hours each and every day, but we make it easy for you. You can always view previous episodes of the Megacast. Just go to civiccentertv.com, click on the Megacast, or if you just want to catch the individual interviews, you can do so by hitting the on-demand section. For so many parents, this has been a very hectic year as we start to emerge from the pandemic. But summer is going to be here before we know it. And with that, now is the time to think about your kids and their schedule and keeping them engaged this summer. To talk a little bit more, let's bring in Sarah Elliott. She is with Discover Your Spark. Sarah, great to have you with us.
Thanks so much for having me.
I am thinking that your programs are probably going to be packed this summer.
Yeah, Discover Your Spark is a platform that profiles hundreds of programs all across the region in Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb counties. We partner with, we reach out to youth development providers that offer summer camps or after-school programs, and this platform gives them a way to connect with parents who are looking for opportunities for their child that could spark their interests and get them engaged in out-of-school time learning.
So with that, how is that going to look different this summer?
Yeah. So I'm a parent as well of little ones. And so I'm in the same boat as many parents. Our school summer program was canceled. And so, like a lot of parents scrambling, what else is out there? So I think that's what's going to be happening with a lot of families. And we're learning, and providers are learning in real time about what's safe. I think what's different and can be really positive is that it is a bit safer for young people who are not vaccinated to be in outdoor programming. So we, encourage parents to be looking for programs that maybe are spending more time outside, which those of us, that grew up in the summer, that can be a wonderful opportunity to be outside of the school building and in parks or nature centers or programming that could be happening all across the region.
So with that, we know that it's for kids 4 to 18 years of age?
Yeah, the platform, discoveryourspark.org, if you go there, you can search for programs from pre-K or preschool all the way up to 12th grade. And so you'll find everything from sports programs, you'll find all-day summer camps all week, Boys and Girls Club, the YMCA. We're working on it's a little later this year than other years because, also programs are figuring it out a little bit later than usual. But over the next few weeks, you'll see more and more programs that are coming online this summer.
Sarah Elliott with us here on the Megacast. She's the executive director for Discover Your Spark. And we've heard so much over this past year about learning loss.
Yeah.
Being able to put your child in one of these programs from the standpoint of a parent, it has to feel good that you can help enrich them in some way after they've spent so much time in front of a computer screen.
Absolutely. And one of the philosophies behind Discover Your Spark is that young people learn all day in all places from all adults. And so the more enriching environments and programs that your kids participate in, they're going to learn all kinds of skills. And so even over the summertime, there's research that shows if youth are not in, some learning setting, like a summer camp, that they might be less likely when they get back to school to be on track for reading and math and all those kinds of things. So even if they're not doing concentrated literacy or math over the summer, if they're in a general summer program, they're still going to be learning about, things that they're interested in. All that's going to translate to them being lifelong learners and more prepared to go back to school.
And do you want to talk about the social aspect as well?
Yeah.
We've been in these cohorts for the past year.
Right. Yeah. And some programs might still operate in cohorts. And there can be, it's like with the pandemic, there are some bright spots. And we, out of school time programs are really a time for young people to create those caring relationships with adults and other peers. And so in some ways, those tight cohorts may actually have a positive benefit of they get to really know, that group of children or those two adults and create some really strong bonds. So try to flip that one into a positive. And for the younger kids, cohorts might still be the safest option this summer. So until vaccinations are available for them.
So with that, how do you come up with some of the programs?
Yeah, we, the Youth Development Resource Center, which I'm the director of, we power the site and we support a whole network of 200 plus out of school time programs throughout the year with trainings and quality improvement and advocacy for the field. So we have a broad network of program providers that connect in with our work, and then we offer them Discover Your Spark as a platform to reach out to parents and let them know about the opportunities. And we created this resource in partnership with the United Way for Southeastern Michigan and a couple other local foundations. So we particularly focus on programs that are affordable, free or low cost. And so with that philanthropic support, we're able to offer the website to the region.
And you wonder too, for some of the kids, it can expose them to other arenas that maybe, when you're in the middle of a school year and you're worried about taking a test or juggling your schedule and worried about your grades, this is a great way for them to kind of dip their toes in other things outside of their normal interests, whether it be, robotics or music or something of that nature.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the programs that's listed is called Camp Dinner Table. And the founder of that is someone who works with our organization, Yolanda Scarborough. And my daughter participated in the Saturday program. It was virtual, but it was a cooking program. And I was just noticing how much confidence she was gaining, you know, by feeling like, even as a 4-year-old, like I could make these we did even foods that she doesn't like, she got to make, and that kind of exposed her, you know, to new things. And that's a social emotional skill that we need, like how to get comfortable, even with things we may be uncomfortable with. So that's one of the benefits of participating in an out of school time program, new experiences, new challenges, and that's all good for healthy development for kids.
Exactly. And without that pressure of a test hanging over your head.
Yes, exactly. So less pressure, more fun, healthy childhood. You know, I mean, I think that's the concern a lot of us parents have had during the pandemic, our kids having a healthy childhood where they can play and learn at the same time. So that's what out of school time programs offer.
But I also feel like even, you know, put the pandemic aside, things have also changed from when we were kids, because now it's so structured. Maybe they have a play date, but they have to be driven, and it's from this time to that time, and their schedules are so packed.
Right.
You know, when I was growing up, I grew up in a very small town as well. It was like, go out and play until it's dark out.
Right.
You know? And so you came up with things, right?
Yeah.
Like you were creative and you explored.
Yeah.
And there was no pressure. It was summer.
Yeah. The highest we also rate the quality of after school and summer programs in our normal times. And really the highest quality for a after school or summer program is giving there's some structure, but they actually give young people lots of choice and voice, and they co-plan the program and they learn those skills. And so we really encourage parents as they're looking for a program to be thinking about and asking questions. Is this safe? Is this a supportive environment? Is my young person gaining some skills? Are they doing some skill building? And really ask, like, how that program, how are you going to engage me as a parent? How's my young person going to be engaged? Because they should still find some freedom to be themselves and have a voice within a structured program.
So with that, again, we're talking with Sarah Elliott. She's the executive director for Discover Your Spark. And with that, Sarah, how can parents find out more information?
Yeah, go to discoveryourspark.org. There's a button that says look for a program. You'll take you to a page called the Program Finder. Right now we have 233 programs. You can see all the details. And then there's a register button for each program. It should take you to the website for that particular organization that's offering that program. And you can find out more about getting registered.
And so with that, are these drop-off classes and programs for the parents?
Right now, there's a mix of virtual programs. There are some drop-off programs. There are some, like all day, a Boys and Girls Club setting where young people can sign up. Boys and Girls Club, though, and others offer also sports leagues and kind of that activity where you might drop them off for an hour or two or stay nearby. So whole range of activities that are on the platform.
And with that, do you anticipate a lot of these programs are going to get booked? Because it is the summertime, kids have been at home, and now some of the parents that had been working remotely may be heading back to the office as well.
Yeah, the supply and demand of programming is a little different this year. Some parents are still keeping their kids home, so in that way there may be more slots, but then there are less slots. I will say right now they're on the national level, the federal government is providing a lot of funding to schools and cities to offer summer programming and get us back to learning. So in the next month or so, you'll see more programs that your school district or your city might be offering as a result of that investment.
I'm looking at some of these classes and how fun, like there's an animation class.
Yes.
I mean, it's like a little bit of everything in here, something for everyone.
Definitely. So, and that's the whole idea behind Discover Your Spark. You, with your young person, can go through and see what sparks your interest and what might develop that new spark in that young people. Often, like participating, a personal story, when I was a middle schooler, I got to participate in a Girls in STEM program. And that introduced me to a whole career path that I didn't know even was open to me. So these programs can often really change the trajectory of a young person's life because they find out what they're really passionate about.
This is so great. And with that, Sarah, I think you should come up with this for adults.
Yes, that's true.
We need play dates like this.
We do, definitely. And right now, one of the innovations I'm sure parents have seen are all these kits, so some of the programs, even though they've been virtual, they come along with like an in-person kit that you get with art supplies or different things. So there's still a hands-on learning component. And so adults should, have that too. I think that would be good for us as well. Some of the programs do engage the parents and the youth together. Like I mentioned, Camp Dinner Table, it's really about getting families back together around the dinner table. And so parents can sometimes participate alongside their young person.
Sarah Elliott with us here on the Megacast. She's the executive director for Discover Your Spark. And if I can ask you, Sarah, I know that for some parents, transportation can be an issue. Any way for them to kind of work around that?
Yeah, on the website, there are some details about transportation. I would definitely reach out, as you're registering to ask the programs about that. There are some, and I live in Detroit and know some of the programs in Detroit that do provide a van or a bus loop. So definitely ask about whether transportation is available. That's a barrier.
What's been some of the most popular ones?
So many. One of the providers that we support is Accelerate for Kids, and they offer a variety of programs. They have a new one that I've heard of called Tennis and Tech. So they're teaching tennis, but then they're also doing some coding and tech work with the youth. And they're partnering with the Detroit Parks and Rec Department to offer that. So, but that is a really interesting one. DAPSEP is a Detroit area pre-college engineering program. They offer a whole bunch of different programs online. And then, of course, sports are always popular. So there are quite a few sports programs in the program finder as well.
There are so many amazing programs listed on here. I'm mesmerized now.
Yeah. Can I mention, I'll plug one more.
Absolutely.
Inside Out Literary Arts program project has been a great partner with us. And because of the pandemic, they actually have been able to extend some of their programming on Zoom to young people who wouldn't normally be able to participate because normally they operate out of a school or a library. And so that's one of the great, again, silver linings of all this, that if your young person's a budding poet, then they might have access to programming that they didn't have before.
What a great job that you have.
Yes, it's a very exciting field to be in. And we want everyone to know that out of school time, we are here for your kids and expand their learning and their horizons in all kinds of ways. So learning doesn't just happen in school and at the school building.
And again, for parents out there, it's discoveryourspark.org. And what is the fee associated with it? Do you know? Or it just varies?
Free to with the different programs, they do vary. And if you, on the left-hand side of the website, you can search for location, days of the week, grade, and there is a cost filter. So if you want to filter for free or low-cost programs or those with a scholarship, you can do that and it'll filter and show you which programs are free. A lot of them are funded by philanthropy or donations. And so definitely look for those that are free or low cost.
Such a great program. Sarah Elliott with us here, Executive Director, Discover Your Spark. Anything maybe I didn't touch on that you want to add before we say goodbye for the day?
No, I'm just sending support and solidarity to all the parents out there. We've made it through a year. Just keep your child's mental health and well-being at the center of everything. So whatever you need, you're raising your child in a whole community of people that care about kids. So this is one more resources to help you feel supported in raising your child.
And what a great program it is as well. Sarah, so thank you for your time. We so appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ronnie. Great
Again, Discover Your Spark. We'll take a quick break here on the Megacast, and when we come back, we'll be speaking with the Lifestyle and Culinary Medicine Coordinator over at St. Joseph Mercy Health System. That's next here on the Megacast.
I want to get back to seeing my grandbabies every Sunday and smothering them with big hugs and kisses.
I want to get back to football games with my boys.
I want to get back to feeling and touching, connecting with the people around me.
I want to get back to family dinners and my grandma's mac and cheese.
I want to get back to real grocery shopping, taking my time, walking down every aisle, smelling the tomatoes and melons, having a free sample or two, or 3.
COVID-19 has changed how we live and how we feel. But now, there are vaccines. And they are the first step that let us get back to feeling optimistic about the days ahead of us. It's okay to have questions.
Is it safe?
Should I get it?
Should I wait?
Now, get the facts. Learn more at getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision when vaccines are available to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Great to have you with us here on the Megacast. Just about 20 minutes left here in the show. And throughout the pandemic, one thing I think for so many of us, we have realized just how vitally important our health is. And what we put in our body is also very important. Let's bring in Allie Babcock. She is with the St. Joseph Mercy Health System, Lifestyle and Culinary Medicine Coordinator. Allie, thank you again for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
This is really such a great program. Fill us in on the program itself and how it works.
Absolutely. So our team is really proud to be going first in launching lifestyle medicine in Southeast Michigan. Lifestyle medicine is a holistic approach to really preventing, reversing, and treating chronic disease. And we focus on 6 pillars that have tons of evidence behind them and years of scientific literature about why these specific elements and lifestyle change really help us to achieve those lifestyle goals in that prevention and reversal of disease that we're looking to do. So what we know that attaining restorative sleep and eating a whole food plant-based diet, the way we move our bodies, the way we manage our stress, the way we avoid substances and our social connections all can help to achieve that goal. And so our program is really looking to educate our community and our patients through some different opportunities we have to experience lifestyle medicine in group classes or individual appointments.
So, we have started to notice that some of the insurance companies are trying to reward their clients and their patients for healthy lifestyle. Do you think we're going to continue to see that? And with, the goal being, let's prevent the disease in the first place.
I really do. With the Affordable Care Act that was passed during the Obama administration, we started to see that insurance companies needed to have preventative medicine, particularly appointments with primary care providers, as a completely covered benefit. And that really launched the beginning of what we see in healthcare as an initiative towards value-based medicine. And when we look at the current medical system, we operate in a model where if you're sick, we will treat you. We will prescribe a pill for this or a surgery for this. And we really don't look forward to that prevention element unless you are looking at the total cost of healthcare and the total cost of the care of that individual over the course of their lifespan. And that's really where preventative medicine and value-based medicine come in. And so I think that we are at just the tip of the iceberg in a revolution in healthcare where we do look towards preventing disease. And not only will we see insurance companies rewarding their members for actually, the success that they gain in that, but I also think that we're going to start seeing insurance companies paying for those services more frequently and more readily.
That would be such a great thing. And, throughout this pandemic, especially in the beginning stages, we know that some of the people that suffered the worst, they had underlying conditions to begin with. So do you think that because of COVID-19, it has started to open up the conversation about how we are living, not just individually, but really as Americans overall?
I really do. The thing that we have seen, I think, intimately within our own population of colleagues, as well as our patients during the COVID pandemic, is that people were looking for a solution to, do something about their chronic disease and their health in a new way. For the first time, health became a value for many people across America. And the chronic diseases, unfortunately, that have been comorbidities, such as obesity and cardiovascular disease and type 2 diabetes for our patients with COVID-19, have really one common denominator throughout them, and that is inflammation. And we really have a lot of evidence in lifestyle medicine to suggest that utilizing these lifestyle practices that I mentioned can help to take away some of that inflammation and reduce it, and be a treatment mechanism for these chronic diseases that have not only, made COVID worse for many folks, but also, I think, illustrated an importance in our health that we have seen because of this pandemic.
We're talking with Allie Babcock here on the Megacast. She's the Lifestyle and Culinary Medicine Coordinator over at St. Joseph Mercy Health System. And so with that, Allie, we've been told over and over, drink more water, get rest, eat healthy, and exercise. But yet we still tend to not follow those guidelines. How do we change our habits? Any advice?
It's an absolutely great question. What we know from lifestyle change is that these behaviors, while we know we should do them, they're hard. It's hard to make that lifestyle change, and it requires a certain amount of self-motivation. My biggest suggestion for changing a habit is to take it one step at a time. Don't try and change every element of your lifestyle overnight and bite off more than you can chew. Start with small, measurable changes that are specific, such as I'm going to buy a new pair of running shoes and get on the trail at least one time this week, or I want to eat one plant-based meal with my family this week. So some small incremental changes that are available to us allow us to be so much more successful with those habits, and then you can just notch it up from there. And that's really what we're doing in teaching our patients lifestyle medicine principles and habit changes at St. Joe's. We want to help make all of these changes for our patients attainable and realistic, and something that they stick to, not just a flash diet, but something they stick to on and on for the rest of their lives.
I really feel like this is trying to treat the entire patient and not just one ailment.
I agree. Really, when we think about traditional medicine, we're set up into specialties. You see a cardiologist for your health, or for your heart health. You see a endocrinologist for your endocrine health, or your diabetes, or your thyroid. We don't necessarily work all together all the time. And really what lifestyle medicine is about is the interdisciplinary approach to preventing disease. We know so often, I think one of the biggest pillars that I have seen across multiple ages has been, mental health and the stress of COVID-19 and what that has done for our physical health outcomes. Those things are, very intricately related. And so often we're treating the symptoms of high blood pressure when we're not dealing with the root cause of, say, a very stressful event, a grief, or, a very stressful life, like such as a job or something like that. And so helping patients to develop coping strategies for those things and learn how to deal with and delegate away good and bad stress is something that we really want to help people with. It really is treating, every element of your life in a way that we can help you be successful.
So I know this is the program. How do people participate? Is it open to the general public?
Yeah, so you can have a referral from your physician, or you can self-refer. You can visit us at stjoeshealth.org, lifestyle medicine, and there is a button right there to sign up and send us an email to get started. We will see patients individually. You can come for a one-on-one appointment, or you can participate in our lifestyle medicine intensive program, which combines individual consultations with 6 weeks of group classes that go into all of the pillars of lifestyle medicine and allow you to make really significant changes in all of those pillars towards your lifestyle goals.
So with that, Allie, will those group classes be in person or virtual?
Our program is completely virtual, and we are looking to do this for two reasons. We want to be able to meet people where they're at in their homes. We found a lot of success with telemedicine and being able to have people have the convenience of seeing a provider from their own space, but also it allows us to open up access to those who may not have the comfortability with coming into the hospital still, even though we are looking forward to vaccinations and having a large percentage of our population and herd immunity take place. So right now our program will be virtual, but you could always come see us in person for an individual appointment if you would prefer.
And with that, again, we're speaking with Allie Babcock. She's with the St. Joseph Mercy Health System. And with that, too, I think this is such a great way for parents to really take control of their health, but also the health of their entire family, because we know sometimes it starts at the top. You need someone to take control, and then it trickles down.
I really, believe that to be true. I've seen more mothers who, are taking advantage of an opportunity to take care of themselves, fathers who, want to live long to be able to play with their children and their grandchildren. And this is an opportunity to take care of yourself, but also be an invaluable change agent within your family to promote new lifestyle changes. Lifestyle medicine really is for the whole family, and we have seen that through many of the youth programs that we put on at St. Joe's, such as our Nutrition Buddies program or our Shape Down Healthy Families program. And so we really want to continue to take that family first approach in helping you implement these lifestyle changes within the system of how you run your house and how you want to improve your health, but also the health of your family.
So Allie, I'm thinking of the conversation about going plant-based. And if you have, let's say maybe younger ones or teenagers in the house, how do you try to explain them and approach that conversation? No more hamburgers, especially going into the summer.
I would say that's probably one of our biggest questions. What am I going to do with the grill, right? And I think that for families and children, it really isn't an all or nothing approach. So you can still be going more plant-based, more plant-forward by adding mushrooms and doing a hamburger meat and mushroom burger blend. You can still be going more plant-based by having a black bean burger, on the grilling options that we add to our table. And so helping to have the conversation with families, I think about first, how do you make small incremental changes, like that small transition towards a plant-forward plate? And second, how do you make it so that it is, a testament to what your family and your children want to do? If you have athletes in the house, young athletes, I think about teenagers who really, are gearing up for summer sports. I think going plant-based really promotes, talking about how you can be a better athlete. Going in a more plant-based approach also supports the environment. And so a lot of young people are very energized by what we can do to, be better to our environment and be more sustainable. And I think that's also another great conversation point that you can have at the dinner table that talks about how we don't only do this for our health, but we also do it for the health of our planet.
And I will say, I know my sister's family, they went to plant-based and, after your body becomes accustomed to it, even if they go off of it for a day, they say they can immediately feel the changes within their body.
I think that that's a really, a testament to how attuned you become to your body and your own internal systems. And I really want to encourage everyone who, is hearing this too. It really is that stepping stone approach that we take at St. Joe's. You can have success and feel better with just one meal. We can see changes within just 2 weeks. And so we really want to be able to put forward, more plants on the plate. It can be as simple as, hey, let me teach you how to cook more vegetables so that we can have more servings with what you would traditionally make at dinner time or at lunch. And so going forward to seeing kind of all of those changes that we can happen, helping people to realize the success that they have, but also the feeling of feeling better that they may not have experienced before is part of the reason I'm so excited about this program.
So with that as well, Allie, making these changes, can it reverse a chronic disease or a chronic illness?
Yeah, so for some chronic diseases, particularly we have evidence for cardiovascular disease and type 2 diabetes, we can see reversal of the condition. What does that mean? What does reversal of that look like? When we look at the evidence for cardiovascular disease, somebody who might have buildup of plaque in their arteries and possibly had a heart attack or needed to have a stent placed, when you follow a whole food plant-based diet, implement the pillars of lifestyle medicine to reduce stress, be physically active, sleep better, we can see a reversal of that plaque buildup and actually an opening back up of the arteries. And the same goes for diabetes. The insulin resistance that is causing elevations in blood sugar and the need for potentially insulin or other medications, we can see a reversal in the need and reliance on those medications, and sometimes even a reversal of diabetes into, say, a pre-diabetes level altogether. And this has been, evidence that has existed for many years. We've seen this through many other lifestyle medicine formal programs. And really, we just want to share this message that you have another option and that you can take control over your health. And these can be things that you do for yourself and a lifestyle change that you can make to, have a different outcome than what your genetics say maybe you should have. It doesn't have to be that way.
And sometimes it starts with those small changes in your lifestyle. And if you're going to go plant-based, now is the time of year to do it, because when we go into the summer months, the fruits and vegetables are fabulous here in the state of Michigan.
Absolutely. I am so excited for all of the local produce. Asparagus is on my menu tonight for sure.
But, for some people, they'll say it's more expensive.
So I have heard that often, and I think that when we think about going plant-based, it has really been a diet that has been sensationalized as needing to be somewhat elite. And I think that is such a disservice we've done to the health and wellness of our community. The simplest, best foods for you, rice and beans, do not have to be very expensive. You can really hack that in terms of buying in bulk, buying things dried. They're fundamental across many different cultures and ethnicities and the traditional cuisines of the world. And so it's something that is really global, and we can get excited about cooking in a very affordable way. I tell folks all the time, it doesn't have to be fresh, organic produce to be healthy. You can buy frozen veggies or canned fruit that isn't canned in syrup or sugar that is just as good as fresh when we think about it from holistically from a health standpoint.
Allie Babcock with us here on the Megacast. She's the Lifestyle and Culinary Medicine Coordinator for St. Joseph Mercy Health System. Allie, just another minute or two here with you on the program. Tell us again how people can sign up and how many people are you accepting into the program?
So we are currently accepting anyone who would like to come learn a little bit more about disease prevention and reversal. We can have you sign up. You can contact us directly through our website at stjoeshealth.org, lifestyle medicine, or you can email us at lifestylemedicine@stjoeshealth.org. We also are having a lot of people come through. Our first cohort will have about 30 folks in it, but we can have many more. We can take many more folks with that, signing up for our appointments and individually and kind of moving forward into future classes. So we encourage all who are interested to contact us and learn a little bit more.
So it really is about starting small. Don't become overwhelmed, and then build on those changes to make a lasting lifestyle change.
Exactly. Start small, and if you fall off the horse, get back on it. One small change is really how mountains are built and how things are made. So this is how we're going to kind of help people move forward.
It is really such a great program, and like we said, after COVID-19, so many people are now understanding more so than ever how important what we put in our body is medicine, just like traditional medicine in which we think, but also how we live our life as well. Allie, we so appreciate your time with us.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's always fun to chat.
You too. Hey, real quickly, what is your favorite food to make, plant-based?
Ooh, my favorite food, plant-based food, I have to go with my our seasons. And so I'm really I make a mean sweet a potato and black bean taco right now. So our residents at St. Joe's know I love it. Everyone loves that recipe. You can actually find it at our website and our blog as well.
See, a lot of it is just thinking a little bit differently. And, you can still make great meals that are full of flavor and texture. You just have to think differently.
Exactly. You know what? I always say I probably started eating better and had better, more delicious meals when I started eating a more plant-forward diet. So it's something to think about.
Do you ever eat a hamburger, though?
You know what? I think that's the most important question for us is I actually don't eat red meats anymore, but it really is not an all or nothing approach. And so every once in a while, if something's presented to you, I don't think people should, feel bad about taking that and enjoying that special experience. Just more about our sometimes foods, our special foods, and our everyday foods, and making that shift for people and understanding what those are.
Well, we so appreciate your time today.
Thank you so much for having me, guys.
And thanks again for all the information. Again, St. Joseph Mercy Health System, if you want to find out more information about the lifestyle medicine program. That's going to be pretty much it here for the Wednesday edition of the Megacast. 2 hours goes by just like that, Tyler.
Yeah, it really does. It's a quick show, a lot of information to go through, and we keep moving it along.
And we will be back tomorrow, 10 a.m. to do it all over again. This has been the Megacast.